Good day. My name is Dave Rogers, and I am from Toronto, Canada. And I have the pleasure of joining my dear friend, Mr. Agnelorajesh from India. And how are you today, Mr. Rajesh?
Thank you so much, Dave. It is 6:45 in the morning in Toronto, Canada. And
Yes.
it's such a pleasure to be associated with you, two friends who met for the first time in 2004. And we are miles and miles apart from each other geographically and physically. But we are so close to each other in our thoughts, in our actions, and with the help of technology live on the session tonight.
I feel it's so wonderful because I look at the screen and I see my brother from another mother. And it's just so wonderful because your laughter, your positivity is so infectious and fantastic. I was just enjoying the sunrise here in Toronto, Canada. And it was also really great because I was sending some energy, some positivity to all of my friends in India because it's where I learned yoga. And it's one of the things that will always ground me to be able to connect with the sun. Last night it was the moon. And today I get to see your happy face to talk about not only business, yet ways to be a better leader, ways to connect more effectively, because that's one of the things that I'm really thrilled that after many years, we can still meet. And it's just like I just talked to you yesterday.
Absolutely, 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 Dave. You're bang on. You're seeing the sunrise here. In the next 1.5 hours, we are going to see the sunset in India. I've been fortunate to have a place in such a location where I can absolutely clearly see the sun setting into the sea. So we are both blessed to have the best of sunshine throughout our lives. Thank you, Dave, for that.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you today about was, again, this concept of the New World Order. And it's something that you've talked about. It's something you've written about. Oh, and congratulations on your recent release of your book. Fantastic mantras, fantastic way to be positive, to way to be focused. Yet share a little bit about the New World Order from your perspective.
So Dave, I studied about the New World Order. I went back into history. History teaches us the change in the events that have taken place for humanity. And it's a good measure to understand how those changes have impacted mankind. In the process, I came across an idea or a thought that people wrote about, which is the New World Order. Whenever a dramatic change takes place in the world, a new culture, a new behavior, a new thought process begins. The last time that the New World Order took place was in 1945, just after the Second World War. And United States of America emerged as the economic global leader at that point of time. Tentatively, a world order takes around 50 to 75 years to change. We are just now on the threshold of that time cycle of 50 to 75 years. And I foresee India to be playing a very critical role in this new world order, which has begun. We are already having a change in behavior, change in environment around us, change the way we look at life, change in the way that we will deal with people henceforth. So the New World Order is here to stay, and my book talks about it. The book that I launched a couple of days back is the 15 New Life Mantras, which is available on the Amazon store. The book comprises about all positivity on how you can handle the New World Order in collaboration and in cooperation, not only with the people around you, but also with the environment around you. So that's about the New World Order, Dave.
That's fantastic. And I think this new way of leading, this new way of bringing people together, I believe that you're really interested in collaborating with governments and engaging with governments. Would you like to share one or two of your approaches that I'm hearing that you're doing very effectively? I'd love to hear more today.
What I feel is whenever there is a new world order that takes place, it is critically important for the government to play a very important role. And that is what the Indian government is going to do. And that is what the governments of across the world are going to do. In fact, if you see, Dave, in the last 70 days, we have seen one single government across the world with different prime ministers and presidents and kings and monarchies to working together for a common solution from this current scenario. So governments are going to play a very important role. The decisions that they take, which will influence the lives of the citizens of the country, is going to be of prime importance, because that is going to shape up the rest of the journey, not only for the citizens who are in concern here, but also the growth of that particular country, that particular zone, and that particular region in the world map. So these are going to be very absolutely critical moments. And these critical moments are going to redefine and define and refine your life forward. So very interesting times, very, very exciting times. and we are all looking forward. We are all geared up. It is all about preparation for a change to happen. The change which is going to happen, we are just absolutely well prepared for that. Me, my friends, you, everybody is watching this show, and everybody in this world, the 7 billion people population of the world, is all completely gearing up for this new world order and the change that's going to happen, Dave.
I'm seeing some wonderful notes from our friends who are looking at us on the screen. Hello, Mr. Dr. Doshi. It's wonderful to see some people's names here. And again, this idea of being the change, it's a very, very famous phrase that comes from India. In my life, in the last 10 years, it's really been about make shift happen, because in life, shift happens. There's this continual shift. Would you be able to share one or two of the things that you're doing as a leader to empower people, to look for ways to give more responsibility and delegation to your team? I think our listeners, our watchers today would really benefit from some of those insights.
Absolutely, Dave. The first and foremost thing that we have done as a team within the organization is to reframe our vision and the way forward, is to re-understand the scenario around us, is to understand the environment that's going to change, is to make presumptions on the actions that the government is going to take to revive scenarios in the current mode, and also to re-establish our new relationships with the vendors, also classify the resources that we are having, collaborating the resources that we can have with, and looking at ways on how we can establish more relationships where people can come together, share resources, share opportunities, and move forward. The shift that you're talking about needs to be continuous. In fact, the only constant in life is the change. I read a very interesting case study, which I'm going to discuss on a Sunday program that I'll be doing at 4:15 in the evening, where I've studied a bird, and that bird is eagle. I was very interested in understanding the life of an eagle, and it's the most powerful and the most strong bird that the world has. And I was surprised to understand how that gets into a change format. Dave, I realized that an eagle has a life of approximately 70 to 80 years. But when it goes to an age of 35 to 40 years, the feathers become heavy, their bones becomes heavy, they can't fly effectively, their claws get numb, their beaks go weak, and they find it difficult to hold their prey. So the eagle goes and pushes the beak against hard rocks and breaks the beak. The same eagle also plucks its own feathers, and then they get new feathers, a new beak, better claws, and again they relive their life after half the life journey has passed by. And when I read this case study, Dave, you cannot imagine, this is what every human being in the world today is feeling.
Yes,
you're actually going to be reborn. We are actually reborn. It's a new life. And as the unlocking happens of the lockdown, we are going to be with new feathers, with new beak, with new claws, and trying to move into the world for new opportunities with the rest of the people in the flock, so that we can all be together, we can all work together, and we can all grow together. So it's a very interesting phenomena that we are passing through in our lives at this point of time.
I love this, because this, as you know, one of the things that I've been a student of is the I Ching, the book of changes from China, and also Vastu in India. And it goes about this steady change transition we have in our life. When you're a 10-year-old, very different than a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old. We actually have to let go of our past self to grow into our new self. We have to let go of some of our beliefs that no longer serve us. So that metaphor is fantastic. It's something that, again, as I'm working with positivity here in Canada, particularly with people who are elderly, or particularly people who are having some wellness challenges, and some of those could be mental, some of these could be physical. So I like this metaphor of letting go of the beak, letting go of the feathers, so that we can create our new beginning, our new transition. And so thank you very much for that metaphor.
Thank you. Like Dr. Rajesh Doshi, who's our common friend from the long many years, he's saying, yes, we need to reinvent ourselves. So Dr. Rajesh Doshi, you're bang on. And that is what we have all done together as a group of people together.
I love right now, because many people who are embracing this experience, they're resetting, they're recalibrating, they're reinventing. And it's beautiful, because if you do let go, there's a liberation, and that's the new beginning that is very exciting. And I'm really excited. Like, even if you look over my shoulder here, that's a painting I did. So for my generation, I'm inviting my friends to go and explore creativity. For men particularly, I'm inviting them to go and explore poetry or yoga or something that 20 or 30 years ago you would have never done. This is the reinventation, the recalibration, the re-exploration that could be so exciting in a world of positivity.
Absolutely, Dave. So well said by you. So well said by you, Dave.
It's really our energy is very contagious. I really enjoy the dynamic, and this is again an invitation to people that if they're feeling a little tired or sluggish, go honor the sun or the moon or the water. Go and exercise. Go and create this revitalization strategy that could be about reaffirming your awesomeness. It's something that in the mantras, starting to use new words.
Absolutely.
Words of positivity.
Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely. Bang on.
Did we want to talk a little bit today about the changes that you're seeing in entrepreneurship, or the changes you're seeing in the way that entrepreneurs and governments and staff are working together? Is that something that you might have one or two great tips for our listeners today?
Well, I feel that the role of the government is the safety and security of the population of a country, but the role of the entrepreneur is to change the lifestyle of the customer, of the citizens. So they are going to be providers of products and services, which are definitely going to be positively impacting. I've got Charmaine D'Souza here, who does a lot of reinventing of how food needs to be cooked so that you can inbuild your immunity and your immune system. So we have become so aware about what we consume. We become what we consume. So to build up your immunity, Charmaine, as a social leader, is coming out with a cookbook which will give you the right ingredients of herbs which can heal your body, so that it is precautionary measures as a medicine rather than later on consuming medicines because of wrong inputs of wrong food. So entrepreneurship is leadership where you can lead people to peace and happiness. Every entrepreneur in this world today is absolutely focusing on how they can serve the environment around them and how social entrepreneurship can take center stage. Every government is going to empower social entrepreneurship and make sure that they are the agents of change. The entrepreneurs don't have a watch and don't have a calendar because they need to relentlessly work to provide comforts to their customers and match the expectations that the customers and consumers have. So there is going to be a lot of shift in the people. We were used to a 40 hours a week, but I feel that now onwards, as the unlocking has begun, entrepreneurs and people around will have to work more than 40 hours, up to 60 hours a week, so that the gap which has been created for the last 70 days can be covered up faster. It will need refueling the economy with more focus, vigor, and enthusiasm. Friends, my message to everybody is please always have the best enthusiasm in place, because being happy and feeling happy is the best format of output for any activity that you are engaged or involved with. Every human being in this world is an entrepreneur. Either he might be self-employed, or he would be employed, or he would be an actual entrepreneur. Does not matter. Everybody has to be productive. Everybody will be measured, like I keep saying in every session of mine. So we need to be very positive. We need to be in touch with people who can impact the economy around us. So entrepreneurship thought-wise will be changing dramatically, Dave. The way government looks towards entrepreneurs will also change dramatically. There will be a lot of support mechanism to the entrepreneurs in this world. And I feel this is going to be the new era. The new reinvented era is what I would like to call it, as the new world order.
Very nice. Mr. Rohit Rao is asking what type of shift in mindsets needed for this effectiveness in the new world order. And I guess I would invite this idea that even if you're an employee, we're inviting you to bring that entrepreneurial spirit. It can be called intrapreneurship. So it's
Absolutely.
building and nurturing people in the organization to invite their creativity, to invite their views, their perspectives. Because if we're serving our clients can also be served by everybody in the company. So that young person who might not have the confidence, one of the things we're really saying today is let's uplift each other. Let's encourage each other. That doesn't mean being lazy or tired all the time. It means being positive. It's about finding the positivity, flipping a negative situation, because that could be the trigger to make a bigger difference. And so
absolutely.
That's this positivity energy boost that it can, and it often comes from whether you are nurturing yourself. And
absolutely,
so Dr. was sharing about nurturing yourself with good food, also nurturing yourself with good thoughts, also nurturing yourself with good wisdom. And
Absolutely.
so that's a beautiful dynamic that I guess I'm still curious on what can we do to infuse that enthusiasm into our wonderful friends with the government or policy setters. What would be, again, a way or two that we might be able to engage to make that happen?
So the engagement would need to happen by the entrepreneurs interacting with the government officials and making them aware of the needs that they have so that the government can provide it effectively. It is not going to be as easy as I say, but you need to make the move. Beginning itself is a big victory. So if you can begin that, it will be fabulous. Rohit Rahul operates an organization called the Business Opportunities Club, Dave, in Mumbai. And Business Opportunities Club is all about changing your mindset. And how does that happen? It happens not only by coaching on how to becoming a happier person and having a better mindset and a positive mindset, but Business Opportunities Club also takes the extra mile to ensure that together we expand the markets of every entrepreneur, and together we bring the resources together and share the resources together. So it's a very new concept of Business Opportunities Club doing something different rather than only entrepreneurship based education. It's not education only, but it is also creating the market for every entrepreneur who is involved with Business Opportunities Club. So this kind of mechanisms will make a lot of difference. There is another corporation called the Corporate Connections. We have got the Corporate Connections doing similar things. We have got the Christian Chamber of Commerce and Industry doing similar things. We have got Saturday Club doing similar things. For the mindset to change, it is very pertinent and important, Dave, that people need to be a part of some ecosystem. You cannot be in isolation. You can be isolated due to the virus currently. That's your physical restriction of movement. But your collective groupism needs to be there with mindsets of people which match your mindset and your personality, because being together gives you the strength, gives you the comfort, gives you the movement to move forward together. So ecosystem is critically important. My request and suggestion to everybody who's watching this content is, please be a part of some or the other ecosystem where you can build the ecosystem and the ecosystem in reverse builds you. So that's my take for even Rohit's question.
It's a wonderful tip. And Dr. Doshi is also suggesting that a lot of it comes down to the way we see, the way we use our focus. And so when you focus on all the negativity, you're going to see all the negativity. If you focus on the positivity, if you focus on shifting your mindset, one invitation I would have for all of our listeners today is, again, go and experiment and explore with different ecosystems. It's so exciting because, again, for myself, again, exploring with the filmmakers here in Canada, because being involved in film will be such a beautiful way to influence globally. Influence in, for me, again, elderly care. It's an area that it's going to impact most of us. And so I'm very curious right now. So I hang out and I actually do some different classes with the senior citizens. And so it's, oh, by the way, senior citizens in Canada starts at 55. So many of my friends who are watching us right now, yes, if you were in Canada, you would also be a senior citizen. It doesn't mean that life's over. In fact, for many people these days, life begins at 55, sort of like that eagle that you were talking about also.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So Dev, Tanuja Rane has a question for us. What are the leadership role and responsibilities for new normal? So I would love to have your take, and then lovely question. I would also love to share what is there on my mind.
Excellent. Because this idea of leadership is something that I find really beautiful, because as a leader, many people have in their mind that they have to be a certain age or a certain skill set or a certain degree. I'm inviting everyone who's watching today. You're a leader right now.
Yes.
You're a leader, whether you're 10 years old, you can still be a leader, a teacher of 8-year-olds or 6 years old. My son went to a beautiful school in Singapore called United College, and again, United World College. And United World College, they taught the kids very young to be of service, and it was part of their curriculum. So one of the ideas in responsibility, your ability to respond, you have the ability also to serve. And that's one of the key areas I'm finding, particularly with the focus right now on wellness and elderly care, is to be of service. So if you've had some challenges, go find ways to be of service. The servant leader is an area that is so exciting, because it's part of the New World Order. It's a being of service. And again, I believe that this idea is infused in everything you're talking about today. Would you like to share a little bit about leadership and also servant leadership? And then the next stage, we might even talk about compassionate leadership.
So, Tanuja Rani, that is a very interesting question. And Dave, you really answered it so well. My take on this particular question with Tanuja Rani, who's into interiors in a very big way for turnkey interiors. So, Tanuja, now every leader, like you, like me, like Dave, and everybody's watching this show, we need to have leadership which will be concerned for cause, concern, compassion. And you need to take care of not only your people, your other vendors, and your customers, but you need to take care even of the environment. We should not be concerned only for the human beings around us, but we have to be critically very visible and concerned about the environment around us. The last 70 days has been a lesson on how, if we don't build our immunity and if we are not taking straight lessons from the nature, how it can hit back to you and put you in a hole in the house for 70, 75 days. So we need to be a leadership with a difference now. It is going to be cause, care, concern, and compassion. That's what the new leadership of the new world order is supposed to be. And the responsibility is going to be on your shoulders. Let us not look at what the others are doing. We need to start emulating it ourselves so that the others can look at us, create us as examples for them, and try to emulate what we are doing and make this world a better place to live in. So that is the kind of leadership that I'm looking at. And that is the kind of leadership that everybody is going to play as a key role. So that's my take on that, Dave. Yes, over to you.
I'm going to spin it one more time, because one of the reasons that people might stop themselves from stepping into leadership might because in many people's mind, there's a phrase called practice makes perfect. Yes. I'm going to invite everyone to scratch that one and look at this concept that was taught to me, and actually we used very intensively in Malaysia at the first entrepreneur school for kids called Dwi Imas. And it was practice makes progress. So as a leader, don't expect yourself to make all of the right decisions all of the time. You can make some left decisions sometimes. You can make some up decisions, down decisions. So it's more of having a compass instead of being perfect. And if you're putting yourself always having to be perfect, you often won't get started. So positivity is about giving yourself the opportunity to grow. And so when you're part of an ecosystem, you can grow into a leadership role. Many of my young people today, my young friends, I'm inviting them to be leaders in almost anything because they're so good with technology. And so Absolutely. It's a concept of transgenerational business, that right now, if we have business partners who are 18 years old doing our social media, that would be a great partner. And so we have value to offer to each other. And I think that's what I'm really inviting people in leadership, is find ways that we can be of value to each other. And that could be really exciting if we're nurturing the leaders in everyone. And this goes to our friends who are 70, 80, 90 also. They can be leaders in the community, especially when they're participating and actively growing, letting go of their beak and putting new words of positivity into their vocabulary could also be something that could be very positive.
Absolutely, Dave. That is so well said. That is so well said. So we have another friend of ours, Rajkumar Srivastav is an ex-police officer, does a lot of intelligent work today in a private capacity of serving the big 4 organizations of the world. His question is, we have always been taught about teamwork. How different would be the teamwork in virtual world post-COVID pandemic? So Mr. Srivastav, things are going to change. Accountability is coming into more action. There are technological tools which will monitor the productivity and accountability of every person sitting at home and operating. And you'll be surprised to understand that people have become more busy working from home than what they were working when they were working from offices or on the field. So every person has become accountable. What is more critically to understand is we need to have a SWOT analysis of every team member that we have. When you do a SWOT analysis of a team member, you can depute the work accordingly to the strength of that particular teammate. So when you tell somebody to do what he's good at, the productivity and the results will be better. And the person, wherever he is, whether it is work from home or on the field or in the office, he will try to become more responsible and more responsive to better productivity by each passing day. So it is very important to groom your team. It is very important to understand their strengths. It is very important to even understand their weaknesses. Everybody in the team has got different strengths. Somebody's strength is somebody's weakness. But if you can match it as a team, the productivity of the overall team will improve. and leadership of that team should be with a person who needs to know how to manage. It is the guy who plays the orchestra. The guy who plays the orchestra is called the conductor. So the leader who's the conductor should be the right conductor, so that the best music can be created from the set of people you have in the team, and who functions as a single team to become more productive than what they were before. So things are going to change. How we are going to pull the work ahead and how are we going to motivate the team is also going to take a very important stance in our life of work. Dave, your take on that?
I infuse one word would be humility. I believe in the teams of the future, we will have this wonderful opportunity to express humility, because this idea of humbling ourselves is often, again, about leadership. It's about uplifting people. Sometimes I can't just drag people. It's about going down and actually meeting them to where they are and then uplift them. And uplifting through a SWOT analysis, understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, the opportunities, and their threats. They understand the psychology. Yet what's really come out for the pandemic, from my perspective, is that people are yearning connection. They're yearning connection. So if you are a leader, to sit down with them for maybe 1 minute, 3 minutes, it doesn't take a long time to really show that you care. And again, a big part of compassionate leadership is that you ask questions. Often they don't have the answer. I've been doing a survey recently with 20-year-olds, and I've been asking them some questions about some of the world situations. And quite often, they truly don't know. In fact, the education system has programmed them to say, I don't know. When people say, I don't know to me, I often will pause and ask them if they knew, what do they know? And it's actually a fun little game, but it is psychological to allow them to express themselves. There is a bit of a fear right now to speak up. We need to speak up, because by speaking up, we co-create. And that's one of the things that doing it with humility perhaps allows us to really connect at the heart. And
absolutely.
Again, a big part of being a leader is not always yelling people, pushing them. It's often getting down and walking with them, and then uplifting them and putting them in the roles of leadership.
Shoulder to shoulder. Yes, shoulder to shoulder and leading from the front. Monica Ashit Agarwal is a very dear friend from Dubai, and they are also into interiors in Dubai. Thank you, Monica, for that comment. I would like to comment. So, Dave, you might not be related to this comment, so I will take this comment. It is Goel ask builders to pull down rates. Any comments? So, Murli Ramani, thank you for that point. Mr. Piyush Goel is one of the most educated and qualified ministers of our great country, India. And he made a comment that the real estate prices should be brought down. Only then the developers will be able to take out their capital and not make further losses and all of that. So Murli, I have a great deal of respect to Mr. Piyush Goel. I respect his opinion, but I'm sure I'm not going to be accepting his opinion. These are the times where the government has to support every sector. Real estate is also one of the most important infrastructures of any country, including India. And it is also one of the biggest employers of the country. I feel he needs to have a softer stance. I feel he has to have some better solutions. And I feel he should lead from the front and make sure that this sector comes back from the red to the green, and also supports the citizens who want to invest into properties, because this is the bestest time ever to buy properties. This is the time where what you will get today will not going to get got in the future, because life after the pandemic is going to become more expensive. Friends, we need to understand one thing. The new world order brings in new opportunities, but the new world order also makes life expensive. What do I mean by making life expensive? What I mean is everybody has to work more hard to earn the same money that they earned in the past, and that money might not be sufficient, so they will need to earn more money. So whatever you can buy today, you will not be able to buy at the same prices later on. So don't postpone or procrastinate your decisions. If you want to invest into properties, this is the best time to do that, and grab the opportunity. You need to make judgments on your own. You need to look into history in the past. You don't have to listen to who's saying what, including me. You can just Google the statistics, and Google is created by God through human beings to answer the questions that he wants to get answered. So you have got Google at your fingertips, and you can leverage that and really get best answers for the decision making that you can do. So Rajkumar Srivastava has really commented back. Both of you very well said. 2 takeaways: accountability and humility. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And grateful for that comment. So Sangram Lime is saying real estate is leading in providing employment. True. Dave, your take on the leadership that is changing. So friends, for the people who don't know Dave Rogers is an investor. He's a finance expert. And the best part about Dave Rogers is he has been across the world, multiple countries, multiple cities, multiple types of entrepreneurs. I've been fortunate to attend a lot of training sessions with Dave in Bali, in Hong Kong. We did a cruise together, a learning cruise together from China to Japan to Korea and back to China. Very lovely, interesting, interactive sessions, apart from other sessions that we had attended with Dave in Mumbai as well. So Dave, my question to you is, what do you see as a leadership difference between an Indian entrepreneur, a Chinese entrepreneur, a Canadian entrepreneur, a British entrepreneur, and an American entrepreneur? What is the change? What is the difference that you find in entrepreneurs in the way they think?
Wow, I believe that there are distinctions that are driven by the culture and the society. So there in India, I always found that, again, the entrepreneurs I know, they're really go, go, go. Yet they also have this balance component, because I do believe that yoga and meditation is such an important part of it. When I hear you today saying we have to work more, work more, work more, I'm also thinking that what you're really saying is more productive, more effective. Because that's really what I've seen from India is it is about productivity, it is about utilization, it is about measuring. So what I've also noticed, and this is not to be, it's my honest thing. I've really admired the women leader entrepreneurs coming out of India. You're noticing my favorite company for the last 15 years has been run by an Indian lady, Miss Nui, for Pepsi Cola. So
absolutely,
very measured, very articulate, very clear, and brings an element of humility. So that would be my synopsis of the Indian entrepreneur. China, a little bit more cutthroat is my opinion, meaning it really is a little bit more dog eat dog, and it is a little bit more we get the best price, and it's driving it to a point where sometimes it can lead to a lose-lose. That's been my personal experience in Shanghai, in Hong Kong, and it has definitely been part of the battles. I used to be a bond trader in Hong Kong, so I'm aware that even the language Cantonese in trading is very aggressive, very sharp, very get the price done. And so that was my experience in China. I think Mr. Ma is a great example of what a Chinese entrepreneur can be when they infuse wisdom and collectivism and being able to really be interested in society. Yet there's definitely a lot of people that will take you over and let you out of the car very quickly in China. Japan, again, a respect, a humility. The problem in Japan is, again, their demographics, which again is a great opportunity. And so the positivity is that in Japan, if you have an opportunity to go to Japan right now, the level of robotics, the level of technology to replace people that they just don't have anymore is amazing. So elderly care, to go look at Japan, what they're doing is that they'll be leaders. And then my friends from India can find ways to pass it around the world, because the Japanese haven't necessarily been doing much of that for the last 20, 25 years. It's really become very ethnocentric, focused on Japan. The British entrepreneurs, again, my experience is more in the finance field, where again, they like to orchestrate things. They want to be able to have a nice system. I think they've been very good at putting a system together, yet again, infusing the best from India, the best technologies from around the world, has been part of the British banking system that has allowed them to survive, yet not necessarily thrive. Because if you want the last one, or last two, would be Canada versus America. Canadians, I think we tend to want to be liked too much. Even our prime minister is probably a good example, as he gets up there and he won't necessarily say bad things about his wonderful rival in the South. And Prime Minister Trudeau has done a lot to really help people. So Canada's entrepreneurship, I think, is moving much more to socialism. Again, even right now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but every student this summer in Canada can apply to get $1,200 from the government. And
wow.
people being affected by COVID can apply and get $2,000 from the government. So, and we have a very high minimum wage now in Canada. So being an entrepreneur in Canada is actually very challenging. I did the numbers, and to have a little business in Canada, you need to have 60, 70, 100,000 a month just to cover overheads. And to just run a little hair salon or nail place, that's a big overhead. So Canada is going to have to continue to evolve and work and help people become entrepreneurial, not grantapreneurial. And that was the similarity I found in Singapore and Canada, is that the government is so generous with the monies that they give to young entrepreneurs. They don't nurture entrepreneurship, they nurture grantapreneurship. The government gives them the money and they go and spend it. Do you know, young people in Singapore, if they apply to become an entrepreneur, the government will give them about $50,000. You don't become a hungry entrepreneur if you know you can just get the money. You're not very concerned about servicing your client if you know you can just get the money. So this ecosystem is very important, and monitoring it where there's support, yet there's not this abuse of the system, is very important for positivity. And it's also effectiveness. So in America, their system's a little weird too, because if you scale, and that's what the idea is to be a successful entrepreneur, is to scale, is to build on a foundation of money that is almost like building a foundation on sand. And so the entrepreneur model in America, while we get to see these wonderful big companies that list on the NASDAQ, we don't get to see the 90%, the 95% that are really finding it challenging right now and require the intellect, the wisdom, the hard work, the dedication, the discipline to become successful as an entrepreneur. I hope that wasn't
fantastic, Dave. So there was a purpose, there was a reason why I wanted you to explain the entrepreneurs from different countries, because you have that wisdom and you have gained that through hard experience by traveling into this country so many times all your life for the last 20, 25 years. And my objective to ask you this question was very specific, Dave. The whole world is looking towards India as a land of opportunities, and the whole world will want to come and work with Indian entrepreneurs. So this was my give back to the entrepreneurs in India to understand who are going to be your future collaborators. So you understand from what Dave said about an American entrepreneur, Japanese entrepreneur, Chinese entrepreneur, Singaporean entrepreneur, Canadian entrepreneur, the objective, the British entrepreneur, the objective was clear. Let us start understanding, my dear friends who are watching this show, that these are the people who are going to be our partners for tomorrow. The partners that you will have in the path to progress do not necessarily mean they need to be from your same village or city or state or the country. They are going to be from globally different countries. We are all global citizens, and this is how we need to know how the people think, how they operate, and what are their anecdotes of life, and what is the culture that they follow. So Dave, you were bang on when you explained every entrepreneur of the country. I'm an avid traveler myself, and I've traveled with you also a couple of occasions in the last 16 years, 17 years that we know each other. But this was a fantastic insight that you shared with us. Gautam Burkhe is another young dynamic entrepreneur. He has a question. Can you put some light on donut economy model and how it can help India if applied? Oh, wow. So there is also a donut economy. Yeah, Dave.
Please tell me a little bit about donut, because that, again, one of the things that I'll also say, just as you pick it up, the reason why Indian entrepreneurs, when they collaborate, there's so much value. There's huge value because of what you gain from your domestic market and the technology and the resiliency, that when you go abroad, immediately the company can go up a lot. And so that's why we're seeing a lot more CEOs for Fortune 500 companies also, is that the competition to rise out of India and then going international really puts you in great positions of leadership. And the thing that will be essential in the leadership is communication skills. And so as Warren Buffett even suggests to any graduate right now, the number one skill that you can work on is your communication, your empathy, your ability to ask questions and resolve issues. And that's one of the things that I truly believe India is most prepared for that. And again, as I've worked with wonderful entrepreneurs in India, they ask questions, they're curious, they want to grow. And that's something that is fairly unique, as I've gone around the world, is that there's that, and it's showing right now in Fortune 500 companies, more and more of the top leaders we're seeing have their roots in India. Please share a little bit about donut economy, and then I could give a little response to that.
So Gautam, not about the donut economy, but I will share some ideas on the economy, which is going to be a V shape, a U shape, and a W shape. When these three alphabets are mapped in our mind, we need to understand that there are some economies which have dropped and will rush back on the top again. India is going to be the U economy, wherein it will take some time for us to pop up back again. But that some time will help us to realign ourselves. So we have reacted, now we need to realign, and then we have to reimagine. Once we are realigning mode, once we are in the realigning mode, we have to reimagine on our actions and our precautions for the coming times. The economy also is tipped to be saying that it will drop, it will pick up, it will drop, it will pick up like a W economy. But we predict that the Indian economy to be the U shape. We are already on the bottom of that U currently, and that's how we are now going to rise up slowly, gradually, casually, but sure shot. That will be the strength to come back and bounce back to the economy. So that's what I would like to share my thoughts on the way the economy is going to be shaping up. Vishal Sinha is a very interesting friend of ours, very old associate of mine, and he has thank you for sharing your valuable insights about entrepreneurs around the globe. So that was a very clear-cut objective. So Dave, we are running out of time, and I think we can take 2 more topics to discuss between ourselves, and then we can call it a day. And I'm sure people are going to enjoy what we shared and what we exchanged. And thanks a ton for the brilliant questions. There are plenty of questions here on my list, which we would have loved to answer. I'll answer every one of them once the session is done, but I will surely come back to you. Geeta Potita, all the way from Manchester. Yes. And she said, absolutely right, Rajesh bhai, regenerate, renew, and reinvent. Yes, Geeta Ben, that's what we are always thinking and talking about. So Dave, what I would also like to ask you is, currently you're working with a lot of people who are above 55 years of age. What is their perspective to the current scenario and the life ahead?
Well, there's those that are adapting and those that are finding it challenging. The invitation is really for them to tap into things that they would like to do. And so when you talked about their salaries might go down, you're right, their salaries might go down, yet their joy and their passion might go up. And so this is the beautiful thing that I believe is that hobbies into cash flow can really be into abundance. Because if you've always wanted to be in art or music or dance or education, this is an opportunity to re-educate, to realign, and to reimagine whatever you want to do, be, or have. And so I really believe that it's beautiful. And I had a comment here about women entrepreneurship. I'm so excited about women choosing to be entrepreneurial. They do entrepreneurship in a slightly different way. The community, when you talk about an ecosystem, their word, I believe, would be build a community. And I'm excited about that. And that's something that I've been doing pretty much for the last 10 or 15 years, is working with women entrepreneurs to be part of communities to educate, to re-educate, to realign, to redesign, and to reimagine what this world could be like if we really have this component of caring and compassionate leadership. So I'm very excited about that. Yet, guess what? There is fear. Guess what? There is letting go of ego. Guess what? There is that eagle has to break their beak, and sometimes breaking that beak doesn't feel very good. Yet that's the positivity that we would have to allow our wings to spread, our new beak to come about, and to fly elegantly and effortlessly.
Thank you so much, Dave. Mohammad Amir, all the way from Doha, Qatar. Fast adaptations with the new world is very important for the future success. We are already on that journey, Mr. Amir, and I'm sure we will all do it so positively and collectively together. That is our to-do on everybody's plate currently. Fast adaptation with new world and for future success. So with that, Dave, I think we have run out of time. That was a brilliant experience with you, Dave. Thanks for joining us all the way from Toronto. Once again, a very good morning to you in Canada. And a very good evening to you from India, from the beautiful country of India. We look forward to having you back in India very, very soon. And we'll have a session together with all my friends who are entrepreneurs and who are making a change to the environment and the economy of this country, and as global citizens to the economy of the world. Thank you so much. Have a God-blessed evening, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Namaste.